Hello everyone, welcome to yet another session of the daily news analysis by SRIRAM'S IAS, where we take up the important articles featuring in the Hindu newspaper and break them down for our understanding from the UPSC point of view. So let's start our today's discussion by taking the important articles which feature in the New Delhi edition of the Hindu newspaper. And let's take up our first article for the day. The first article reads, Kerala government moves to divest governor of the chancellor role. Now this particular article appears in the newspaper, and along with this article, similar articles also appear in the newspaper where this kind of tussle is happening with the Kerala government and the Kerala governor, and similar tussle is happening in Tamil Nadu as well, where letter seeking removal of Tamil Nadu governor has been submitted to the of the DMK party representatives who are there in the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. They have submitted a resolution to remove the Tamil Nadu governor because there have been increased clashes between the Tamil Nadu government and the governor. And Kerala joins Tamil Nadu, Bengal in bid to curb governor's powers. So these are multiple articles which appears in today's newspaper highlighting the tussle that is going on between the state government, that is the chief minister and the council of ministers or the cabinet, and the governor. So from this set of articles, we'll analyze what exactly is the tussle between the Kerala government and the governor, and what is this issue between being the chancellor of the universities and the state government wanting to remove these governors as the chancellor of universities. So first, let's understand what is the issue between the Kerala government and the Kerala governor. So all of this started from the aspect of appointment of the vice chancellors of the state universities. So it should be noted that whoever is the governor of any state, he is also the ex officio chancellor of the state universities. This has been the power that is vested in the governor, and that is why the governor is responsible with respect to other decisions of the state, and he is bound by the aid and advice of the council of ministers. But when he is the chancellor of these state universities, he has much more independence, and that is why an issue has arisen over here wherein the Kerala government wanted to make certain appointments as vice chancellors in some universities, and the Kerala governor did not approve of these appointments. So the issue started when after the Kerala governor sought the resignation of several vice chancellors following a Supreme Court judgment setting aside the appointment of vice chancellor of a technology university. So what happened was that the Kerala government appointed a person as a vice chancellor in a technology university of Kerala, and the governor did not approve of this appointment, and even the Supreme Court found that this appointment was not right, and on that basis Kerala governor wanted resignation of this vice chancellor, and in response to this move, the governor issued notices to the vice chancellor citing violation of the UGC norms in their appointment. And this matter then went to the Kerala High Court, and the court restrained the governor of the state in his capacity as chancellor of universities from passing final orders on the show cause notices he issued to the vice chancellors of the 8 universities. So this is where the tussle was going on, where some kind of actions were being taken from the governor's side and then from the government side, and the matter then even went to the court, where partial relief was granted to the Kerala government, one can say. But now the Kerala government has gone one step forward, and the state cabinet has resolved or passed a resolution to request the governor himself to promulgate an ordinance removing him from the position of the chancellor. So let's understand what the Kerala government is doing over here. It passed a resolution asking the governor himself to promulgate an ordinance. So we should know that the governor has certain ordinance making powers. So in times of emergency, the governor has the power to pass a certain ordinance, which then has to be ratified in the state legislature. So this kind of ordinance making power, the Kerala cabinet has requested the Kerala governor to make use of that power and pass an ordinance which would be itself divesting the powers of the chancellor from the governor, and it would take away the powers of the chancellor and at one stroke render the Raj Bhavan or the office of governor remote from all aspects of university governance. This is the kind of stage that the matter is in. So what do you think? Will the governor accept this resolution to pass such an ordinance of he himself divesting the powers of as being a chancellor of the state universities. Let's see what that happens in that. But from the exam point of view, let's understand what are the major provisions or powers related to these universities. So as we saw, when it comes to state universities, the governor of the state is the ex officio chancellor of the universities. And as I mentioned, while as governor, he functions with the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers. As chancellor, he acts independently of the Council of Ministers and takes his own decision on all university matters. So what was the original intent of making governors hold this office of chancellor? The original intent of making governors hold the office of chancellor and vesting some statutory powers on them was to insulate universities from political influence, and that is why the representative of the center, who is the governor, was placed as the head of the state universities. And Kerala is not the only state which is embroiled in this particular dispute. Even the West Bengal government passed the West Bengal University Laws Amendment Bill in 2022 to appoint the chief minister as the chancellor of 31 public universities in the state, replacing the governor. And similar case happened over there, where the then governor and current vice president Jagdeep Dhankar returned the bill to the state cabinet. So this kind of bill had to be accepted by the governor, and the governor did not give his assent and he returned the bill. So this is the matter that is going on, which is not just the case with Kerala but many other states as well. And this reflects a tussle between, one can say, the representative of the center, hence essentially the central government, and the state government. And the casualties in this issue always become the public governance and issues of public importance, because the two institutions of the state are fighting amongst each other. So this is the discussion with respect to this issue. And with this, let's move on to our next article for the day. The next article which appears in the newspaper reads, "In the hopes for a clear blue sky." Now this particular article appears in the newspaper and talks about the history of Delhi pollution. So in order to understand this article, we've already had a detailed discussion on this topic in our previous video dated 5th November. We took a deep dive into the Delhi pollution, and with respect to this article also, I would request you all to tune into that video and refer to this discussion of Delhi pollution. There are some interesting points in this particular article as well, which essentially highlights as to how old the issue of Delhi pollution is, the cases with respect to the Delhi pollution had started way back as back as in 1995. So do refer to that discussion for the explanation of Delhi pollution as a topic. Now with this, let's move on to our next article for the day. The next article which appears in the newspaper reads, "Level of groundwater extraction lowest in 18 years finds study." So now this article appears in the newspaper which talks about the level of groundwater. Now we all know that the groundwater is an extremely valuable resource, and in the recent times a lot of extraction of groundwater from the soil and from the down under region has resulted into depletion of the groundwater levels. And that is why India, which houses 16% of the total world's population, but at the same time only has 4% of the total groundwater resources. And that is why we can see that there's a lot of stress with respect to the utilization of these groundwater resources. So therefore, the Central Groundwater Authority conducted a survey analyzing which are those places which are extracting more groundwater and what is the rate of extracting this groundwater. So the report says that the total annual groundwater recharge for the entire country is 437.6 billion cubic meters. So the report highlights that what we mean by annual groundwater recharge for the entire country is that this particular amount of billion cubic meters of water is required for the groundwater to effectively recharge itself. So for it to replenish itself to its original levels. And the annual groundwater extraction for the entire country is 239.16 billion cubic meters. So it takes 437.6 billion cubic meters to recharge the water level. And how much are we extracting the water level from each year? It is to 239.16 billion cubic meters. This is according to the latest 2022 assessment report. So this is a positive sign that has come in, because this rate of extraction is the lowest for the many years, lowest since 2004, whereas in the earlier years, let's say the last year 2020 had 245 billion cubic meters of extraction rate, which was more than the current rate, and in 2017 it was the highest, wherein it had 249 billion cubic meters of groundwater extraction. So this shows that what is the level of groundwater that is being extracted and what is the level of groundwater that is required for the level to recharge itself. And out of these total 7089 assessment units in the country, these are the places from which the groundwater samples were taken. 1000 units have been categorized as overexploited. So this shows us the extent of depletion of groundwater table in areas where close to 1/7 of the places that the measurement was done are showing as overexploited levels, which means that the groundwater levels in these places is very low. Then almost 89% of the groundwater extracted is used for irrigation and the rest is used for domestic and industrial use. So the bulk of the groundwater usage happens for irrigation purposes. And according to the Central Groundwater Board, the annual groundwater withdrawal is considered to be safe when the extraction rate is limited to below 70% of the annual replenishable recharge. Now this is an important concept which we need to understand, that the rate at which the groundwater is recharging itself and the rate at which water is being extracted has to be balanced in a manner where there is enough time for the water to be replenished by itself. And the safe limit is when the extraction rate is below 70% of the total recharge rate. So what does this particular data tell us then? Available data indicate that the level of extraction for the country, at least in 2017 when the extraction rate was highest, was 63% from 58% in 2004. So we can see that it is it was as high in 2017. However, the level varied across different regions. So we can see that overall, at least the rate of extraction is less than 70%, but these rates differed in various regions according to the states, and they differ differently with respect to these states, wherein certain states and regions show much more extraction of the groundwater. So states such as Punjab, Rajasthan, Haryana, Delhi, Chandigarh, Himachal Pradesh, Tamil Nadu and Puducherry have crossed the 70% mark, and these are the states right now in India which are also facing acute water shortage. So this is an important point with respect to the groundwater extraction that we need to understand. And these particular states, of the 534 districts in 22 states, 202 districts had the stage of extraction ranging from 71% to as high as 385%. So this means that there are certain regions in India which are showing extreme amount of groundwater extraction, and that is why they're facing the problem of groundwater recharge. So Niti Aayog therefore has set the 70% extraction value as the target to be achieved by the year 2030. So in this aspect, let's understand about the groundwater regulation in India. So who regulates the governance of groundwater? So when we talk about water, it's a subject that belongs to the state list. Therefore, it is the responsibility of the state to regulate and manage. But under the Environment Protection Act, the Central Groundwater Authority can issue guidelines to states. So even the states can issue guidelines, and following that, the Central Groundwater Authority was constituted under the Environment Protection Act, and it has the mandate to regulate and control development and management of water resources in the country. So this was the important information with respect to this article. Groundwater as a concept is very important. Already 2-3 questions have been asked in the prelims examination, and that is why important information with respect to this topic becomes very noteworthy for us to understand. So with this, let's understand the next topic. The next topic which appears in the newspaper reads, Pashmina shawls have Shahtoosh guard hair, say customs officials, all fluff counter traders and artisans. Now this particular article appears in the newspaper because there is an ongoing tussle going on between the custom officials who check the pashmina shawls and the traders and artisans who manufacture them. So the tussle is going on because the custom officials, after conducting certain scientific tests, have found out that the pashmina shawls which are to be exported outside the country are not fully made of the pashmina wool. We'll understand about the pashmina shawls in detail, but the custom officials say that these pashmina shawls are not fully made out of pashmina wool and have shahtush guard hair in them, which is a banned fiber to incorporate, and when they are adulterating the pashmina shawls with shahtush guard hair, it makes the item not worthy of export, and that is why the custom officials rejected these pashmina shawls. And what do the traders and artisans had to say in this to this counter thing, to the allegation that was laid by the officials? They said that the tests that were used by the custom officials are not reliable and therefore they give false positives, and they are only making pure pashmina shawls. So this is the tussle that is going on between the two groups. So from the examination point of view, we'll understand about what is this pashmina shawl, what is the speciality about them, and what is the shahtush fiber. So when we talk about pashmina shawls, these are the finest quality shawls that exist, that come from the region of Ladakh and Jammu and Kashmir, and they are obtained from a breed of mountain goats, which is also known as the Himalayan pashmina goat, or rkrxh is its name, found in the Changthang plateau in Tibet and parts of Ladakh. This is the pashmina goat, and the Changpa community is the one who rears these goats, who rears the pashmina sheeps. So this particular manufacture of pashmina is largely unorganized in cottage and handicraft industry. It provides employment and livelihood to approximately 6 lakh people, most notably the local skilled villagers and artisans in Kashmir. And the community which takes care of this business is the Changpa community, who are the prominent tribe to rear the pashmina sheeps. So this is with respect to the pashmina shawl and the pashmina sheeps, which are important from the examination point of view. Now what do we know of the shahtush guard hair? The shahtush is a fine undercoat fiber, again obtained from the Tibetan antelope, known locally as the chiru. This is the Tibetan antelope, the fiber, the coat of which is extracted to prepare a fine undercoat fiber. And this is also a species living mainly in the northern parts of the Changtang plateau in Tibet. As they offer high levels of smoothness and warmth, shahtush shawls is a highly expensive commodity. So even the shahtush shawls are a very sought after commodity, but once they were being poached for this particular product, the Indian government laid a ban on their manufacture and killing of these animals, and that is why the sale of the shahtush shawls became very less. And now since this tussle is going on, it has also impacted the export of pashmina shawls, where close to more than half of the pashmina shawls which were exported outside the country, they have taken a hit, and because of this tussle, the exports are not going outside the country. So this is the backdrop with respect to this issue. We come to end of today's discussion, and we'll meet again tomorrow with the important articles from the newspaper. Thank you.